Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there to all my listeners and welcome to yet another episode. I'm so excited. Today is a video episode as well with a special guest, a dear student and friend of mine, Marisa Grim. Before I say anything about Marisa, first of all, if you are new here, welcome to this podcast. In my podcast, we discuss numerology as a path for inner transformation, spiritual growth, and self-understanding. I put all the emphasis on in-depth numerology, an ancient art that is supposed to help you to cultivate a life of wisdom and alignment with your true purpose. I personally attempt to make it accessible so you can use it in practical ways in your everyday life. Now, in case you want to dive deeper into numerology, here are a few ways you can do so. First and foremost, you can book a numerology reading with me. A numerology reading is a beautiful way to get to know yourself. You can ask any question that is burning in your life and get precise answered, tailored especially to you. You can read more about the type of readings I give and contact me through the link in the episode description. If you want to dive deeper and study numerology or even pursue it as a career. So first and foremost, I offer 2 self-study courses, which you can check out again in the episode description. And they allow you or give you the opportunity to learn numerology online at your own pace, on your mobile device, your tablet, your laptop. My library currently, again, includes only 2 self-study courses, but more are coming up. Or if you want to be initiated into the more rare depths of numerology, you can sign up to my complete path of certification, where you study directly with me, one-on-one, all the way from a complete beginner, if that's where you stand, to a numerology expert, and you get certified as a professional numerologist. Again, to read more about everything, simply check out the episode description, the links. And now, without further ado, let me get Marisa with us. So here we go. Let me unmute you, Marisa. Unmute. Here we go. Hello.
Hi. Thank you.
What a pleasure to have you here. So let me just introduce you in a few words. So first of all, Marisa is a dear friend. Marisa has been and also still is a numerology student of mine, but already a fully certified professional numerologist. She reads numerology charts, but most importantly, and I can attest to that, she sees you for who you are. She sees your light and she helps coach you through any challenges you may be having or going through, so you can fully be in the light of your unique expression. Of course, I'm going to leave a link to Marisa's website, marisagrim.com. So no worries about that. It's going to be in the episode description. Marisa, anything I missed? Anything you want to say to the audience about what you do, who you are? Anything you want to add to that?
Thank you. No, that was beautiful. Thank you. And what I love, as always, is how you speak, that your words hold all of the energy. So they hold truth. And I love that about you. So said it all.
You see, guys, as I said, Marisa sees you, and she does it right here, right now.
Yes. Really, and if you study with Tom, you get a lot of that, this beautiful, deep wisdom that comes through his teachings. So I'm grateful to be the recipient. So thank you.
And I'm grateful to have you as an ambassador, as someone who spreads the light so beautifully as you do. Yeah, sometimes I look at you with sort of a friendly envy. I'm kidding, like a friendly jealousy of your ability to sort of just connect and spread your beautiful, five-ish energy. We're going to talk a lot about the number five today, with people, which is just super inspiring. Like, when I write a post, guys, I get like, you know, 20, 30 likes at most. And like Marisa writes a post, like she gets like hundreds of likes. It's amazing. It's always amazing to me, like to see this unique talent. Um, but anyhow, we're not here for likes or for that. We're here to really dive deep today. And I think the general guiding topic for today is going to be, again, based on Marisa's numbers. Um, I'm soon going to go into that, but we're talking about sort of freedom versus unpredictability or lightness versus sensitivity. Sort of how does it feel? What does it mean to hold both in one's life? Because our beloved Marisa has a very unique chart, and she has in her sacred triad. You hear me mentioning the sacred triad a lot in episodes, and if you don't, just listen to a few episodes, and you're surely going to hear me explaining what it means. It's basically the three most important numbers in your chart. Okay, I'll just explain it right here, right now. Life path, expression, and soul urge numbers. And Marisa has a five in her life path, a seven in her expression number, and another five in her soul urge. In the personality number, which is sort of like the fourth in terms of like degree of impact or influence, the personality number Marisa has an 11 too. So we're seeing a very interesting combination, Marisa, right? Like on the one hand, like strong fives, freedom, spontaneity, communication, experience, experimentation, experimental, whatnot. You can add more words. And then we see like the seven and the two, which is a bit more on the intuitive side of things, more sensing into the undercurrent, subtle, quiet, able to penetrate deep. Of course, we're also going to touch some of the combos here, the 5-7, maybe the 5-2, the 2-7, or maybe the whole 5-2-7, which, as my teacher taught me, Sharon Ron, by the way, from Israel, the unpredictables. And I love that. We're going to touch upon that. But I think we definitely have to start with the fives. You have two fives in like very central locations. And how do you feel that these fives play out in your life? Let's say maybe say a little bit of like when you were younger, say 20s, and then today, late
Yeah.
40s.
Okay, absolutely. Um, it's funny because I have the 20 something year old kids that are about college age right now. And
Right.
so I was just telling my daughter about that the other day. She's getting ready to go to college and mom, what did you do? And I said, yeah, well, basically I went to college to travel. Like my whole of going to college was to have experience, not to like go and study something. Like I was there for the experience, which is a very five-ish energy, right? And so I did. And the whole idea was that I was going to go to college, I was going to get out of my house and that I could do whatever I wanted to do, right? So I never came home in a summer. I worked in Alaska one summer. I sold books door to door because it sounded like a great adventure to go across the United States. I studied abroad for a year. I studied in Mexico and then I studied in Spain. And my whole part of college was how how can I get to places? Like how can I get there and how can this be incorporated in the system for my parents, yeah, that I can just explore and have fun and have these new experiences. So for me that was my 20s, right? And I think oftentimes we experience like the shadow, like the idea of the shadow side or the imbalanced side of our energies when we're younger, and then we go through this gentle unfolding of life where we try to move into balance, right? We try to understand what is a light, what's a shadow, how do we move into this? So I would say it was quite fun in my 20s. I was all about the party. So I was all about the experience, the tasting, the sensing, the feeling, all of it, and maybe the overage of all of it, right?
Right, the
So
excess.
the
Yeah.
excess of the five, right? Like, oh, something's great, let's have more of it, you know?
Yeah, but it's
So
also beautiful. Sorry for chiming in, and feel free to chime in as well. Like it's just like a
yeah.
sort of like a ping pong, because it's like you're describing so many amazing, beautiful elements of the five. Like first and foremost, like this, there's something about the five that always amazes me that, in the sense that fives just enjoy the experience itself. It's like experience for the sake of experience, one can say. You know what I mean? Like I go to college and as you said, I went there because I wanted to have new experiences, or you said it in a different way, or like I wanted to see new places, I think you said, or it's like the travel element, the sense of I want to explore something new, like give me as many new experiences, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. And all of that play, and it was like, and the social part of a five, right? Like, what? I get to meet all these new people, and every single person is something new, and I get to see this whole new expression, to really like feel all of that. So I loved that part, and while that timeline of my life served me, it was beautiful. I learned so much. I also think I experienced a lot of the overage, a lot of that feeling of
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, what? We should come here and pour all of the drinks. We should drink all of the drinks right now because we're here and we should stay all night long.
Unbelievable. I just can't imagine that, like with my numbers.
Yeah, yeah, right. But
Crazy.
that
Wow.
feeling, sensing,
Mm.
tasting, being in that flow, right? And that flow shifts, right? So if you're in the overage of it and you're having, you're sitting around and you're having some wine or some cocktails or whatever, you start to get cloudy. And then that's something we can talk about.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that. That's a
Yeah.
great point, but I want to like open a few doors right now, like in the beginning, and then we're sort of gonna probably like enter each one a little deeper.
Mhm.
Um, Before we talk about five today, I also want to touch upon this unique relationship between the five and the seven. I
Mhm.
think it's super intriguing because, like, on the one hand, five is, in my experience at least, among the numbers, it's, I think, the lightest number. Some would argue maybe three, maybe five, but in my experience, five is a bit more free because there's also a more daring energy with the five, less tameable than the three. Um, so to me, the five is like the lightest energy. Whereas seven is the heaviest energy, the deepest energy, the most multi-layered energy. How do you find that like, how do these two energies play out in your life? Like, how have you seen them play out?
Yeah. You know, when I'm looking into myself or I'm looking at somebody else's chart, that seven I hold, right, at my expression number. So it like tells us a lot about our childhood, right? Or how we grew up. What did that feel like? And so for me, growing up, it was in a family where I was the youngest of seven children in a pretty chaotic family full of love and life and this zest and a lot of chaos, right? So it was like it was all. And I was the observer, right? So oftentimes there were energies much bigger than mine all over, right? And so I often would just stand back and I would observe it. And that's where that 7-2 combo would set in, right? Like really perceiving, really feeling, really looking for that deeper truth. What is this? What does this mean? Like noticing people's behaviors and really going inward. Wow, how do I feel like that? How do I feel about that? And then pulling them up and not necessarily bringing them forth, right? So, like, wow, I see this as
Mm,
this deep truth, this rich, deep truth about this person. But I held in that honoring space, like, often just created space, right? Use that seven probably in a holding space for others. So it just, I think And also, I would say in my life, going through that 5, 7 combo, like oftentimes having them separate, right? So, like, that whole introvert, extrovert
Say
type.
more, say more. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, say more about
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so that introvert extrovert, where it's like, oh, in this space, when I am amongst these people, I am a 5. I step into this 5 energy. I am here. I'm social. I'm fun. I'm open, right? And then this desired space to be alone, to be perceiving, to really be feeling, to be in connection, alone in nature with myself, traveling, like taking that space, so it's both, right? It's been both for me my whole life. Like I can be in with many and then there's this step back into my own space.
That's super interesting because I also know you a little bit for quite a few years now. I mean, I know that you have, and tell me if I'm wrong, maybe it changed, but you have a pretty regular early morning practice, like meditation practice.
Mhm.
You wake up pretty early. Um, and that to me is a form of discipline and a form of deep diving
Yeah.
that I would more attribute to the seven. Again, I'm being, on purpose. I'm sort of like separating. It's
Yeah.
not that separated eventually.
Right.
It's not like a five cannot be dedicated deeply to meditation as an
Yeah.
exploration, but
Sure.
still it's a very particular way, like the commitment to wake up every morning, have a ritual that is about sort of exploration, prayer, meditation, whatnot, connecting to those deeper vibrations and frequencies and, touching upon deeper spaces of consciousness, to me also relates very strongly to the seven, like the way I see it at least.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's interesting because I often use my own lens sometimes if I'm coaching someone else who is a 5, and I always sort of say, listen, finding some sort of discipline routine is important, and I know being a 5 that it cannot look the same every day. Like it cannot be the same thing. You don't get up and you do the thing and then you sit down and then you have this experience and that's how it goes. Like it has, for me, it's different. Like maybe some mornings I get up and I'm sitting at a tree in my yard. Maybe some mornings I get up and I decide I'm going to read something and then I'm going to be inspired and then I'm going to sit. Maybe I'm going to do breath work. Like
Hmm.
whatever it's never the same. And it's always space is created and whatever comes from that, but I would say even more than that in the combo of the 7-5 energy. And I was actually thinking about this last night, right? The 5, like, likes all the sensing, feeling, tasting, all of that, right? So, and the unpredictability, I went out last night and it was evening, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm gonna go in downtown Portland. I'm gonna go to the Rose Garden. I'm gonna hike these trails. And here I am by myself with my dog and smelling the roses, like the sensing, really taking it in, and also like getting these deep downloads, right? So being in nature, like
Hmm.
this experience, feeling all of it, and also receiving the depth of this, like these downloads were so beautiful that just flow through, but it's space created in conjunction with that 5 energy.
Yes, yes. Beautiful. Amazing. And by the way, just for you guys, the listeners, the viewers to understand, like it's these episodes where I have people come on my podcast, where I have guests, it's really to demonstrate to you how numbers are living beings, living energies. They are actual people. And we're talking about, 5 and 7 and 5, 7 and 2. We're talking in this case about Marisa and Marisa's life and behavior and urges and impulses and the light and the shadow and the strengths and the weaknesses. This is a real person with real experiences. And these episodes are sort of an attempt to help you get a deeper sense of the numbers, a deeper ability to feel into them and how they behave in actual reality, not just as an idea. And I'm saying this as a teacher, right? So like many people come to me and um, I had people who studied numerology already in other modalities or maybe other teachers or whatnot, and they didn't feel confident in what they've learned. And when I would ask them, let's say, tell me something about number 5, and then they would read to me, like or tell me, or sort of like almost like, asking the like Google, what does number five mean? Enter, like, and then five is lightness, it's communication, it's travel, it's freedom. It's like, okay, but this is very mechanical. You know what I mean? Let's feel into it. Like, what does it mean? Like, how does it behave? What does it feel like? And this is sort of like what we're trying to create here, like a space where we really speak about it, like in life, and how does it behave? What does it feel? What does it want? What is the desire? How does it work with other energies and so on? So just wanted to sort of like say that, like, open brackets here, close brackets. Um,
And that's what I love about you as a teacher, actually, is that when you're teaching, you're actually using your energy that infusing these words, right? Chosen words that actually create a feeling around each topic. And so to be that one-on-one with you as a teacher, I have that gift, right? That you've taught me all of that, that how to feel into it. And that is very different than most teachers. Maybe everyone has their own unique essence, but I value the way you teach. So thank you. That is true about you.
Thank you for seeing me. As we said, Marisa sees you, and it's true. It's really true. Like whenever I speak to Marisa, like there's like this outpouring stream of confirmations that come from Marisa. Like she's not holding back. That's really beautiful about you. Like you're not holding back. You're just like seeing the person, and you're just like pouring on them like this enormous current of generosity, which is really, really touching. So what a joy and what a gift. What a privilege, really. Um, so let's go into your later years. Now let's circle back to that. So we spoke about Marisa, the 20-something-year-old young woman, and now we're going to Marisa with four kids, some of them 20 plus years old, and still the same essence. Like, what does it look like today? How would you say the five and the 5-7 play out in your life?
Hmm. Well, I think one thing I would say is about the five energy, right? Here to experience and also here to liberate, right? There's this essence of the five that wants freedom and liberation. And I would say in this space of my life, I've moved towards that liberation, right? Like feeling that freedom. And then what is true freedom, right? And if you're looking at like all of our five senses, right? We have these five senses. I actually was wandering around in Texas. It's the state in the United States. So I don't know where your listeners are from, but
Mostly from
they
the States. Mostly.
mostly from the States. Okay, they're really
Yeah.
like, I am here. We are freedom, liberation, right? We liberated from Mexico, and they have this 5 star. The 5 star is everywhere. 5 pointed star, everywhere, 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 right? So five is this, we have five senses, right? So the symbol of the 5 pointed star is these senses, right? So there's like a piece of that it means freedom, right? So for me now to really find that liberation, right, is to meet that five. I think you always say something like the five has to figure out like how to like have its cake and eat it too, or whatever. You always say something like that.
Right, like to they want it all, and they
Want the
want
guy,
it
you
to
want it all, right?
remain full. Like I want it, and I
Yes.
want it to stay, like
Yes,
to still be
yes.
there after I eat it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I would think in this process of this gentle unfolding for me in the life now is it to recognize the importance of finding balance with that five energy, right? Like what is balance? What is truly like with all of these senses? What is, the five can be run by desire, right? Desire of like wanting, like
Right.
I want more, I want to taste more, I want to feel more, I want more of this, right? Is like finding the balance then is how do I now choose this balance from soul passion, soul, like this space that is,
Oh, beautiful. Oh,
yeah.
that's so beautiful. It's because it's what's beautiful about it is that, first of all, I love that, idea of five as a liberator. I think that's the higher spiritual potential, because every number, I always say that numbers have like different levels of functioning or levels of consciousness, and every number has a spiritual level of consciousness. The heightened sort of mature level of consciousness is what you're describing right now. To me, describes the potential of the five, the potential for freedom and liberation, but on a higher level, not just the liberation of experiencing whatever I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want, which is more like me in my 20s, so to speak, or Marisa in her 20s. And it's also interesting because to me, you're also creating an interesting link between the five and the seven. Because the seven always has an impulse to go deep, to go more spiritual, to inquire. But again, it's fused with a five here. There's a synergy of energies, and seven, in a way, always nudges you and asks you to mature, wants you to mature, and you're describing like a whole different level
Yeah.
of these energies, which is I find it really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I think also working, I've seen working with different fives, like how where that balance is found, right? And without the seven, I see what you're saying, right? So without the seven, to take it to those depths of kind of really incorporating this like depth of why are we here? What is the deeper purpose? What's the deeper meaning, right? How do we fuse with spirit as spiritual beings in this human body? Like we are here for a purpose, right? And then how do we find that balanced space, right? So, I know that 5'7", right, in my younger years created a lot of chaos and confusion, right? I mean, like wander around like, wait, what? Oh gosh, like, how, like, oh, how did that just happen? Like, and
Yes,
now sort of feel it in this really deeper way. But I also believe it's a choice, right? It's a choice working with our own energies, right? And like coming to a higher space of consciousness to really be able to feel or see them, whether we're conscious of numerology or not, we are still living within these energies, you know?
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah. But
yes,
numerology is very helpful to our consciousness.
yes. It gives
Really.
yeah, it gives a sort of validation. I was just giving like a reading to the other day to like a medical doctor, and in the end of the reading, like the I'm talking about like a man in his late 50s, like maybe 58 or 59 years old, and he was like with tears, and he told me, Tom, like this is one of the most meaningful days in my life.
Mm,
Why? Because of that deep, profound validation.
mm,
We didn't invent anything. I didn't tell him anything he did not know. But I think when you meet a professional like yourself or like myself or like others, and you are seen so deeply by someone who does not know you at all and is relying on numerology. And I always like to say numerology does not have a bad day because it's like it's a meth it's so grounded, so ancient. It's like actual ways to calculate and to rely on the numbers that you see. And the ability to simply see a person so deeply and give them that depth of confirmation and the reassurance that they're not crazy or they're not seeing it wrong. Because some of us, society does create a certain creates frameworks in our mind of how things should be, all the shoulds and shouldn'ts, all the ideas of fulfillment or failure, and we can be haunted by these things.
mm.
And when you're suddenly getting a confirmation, no, of course you're allowed to just like go wild, be in nature. You're a nature girl, you're a nature boy, or something like that. Or go ahead, like, why aren't you like going on your drum kit and like going crazy or playing your guitar? Of course you're allowed to do that. You know, you're not just being some kind of complacent human being because you're doing that or lazy or you know what I mean? I think it's
Yes.
mm,
Or the opposite of that, even, here I am in this five energy. So you can see somebody in a five energy that's like just flowing with life and they're going, and then you're with somebody that's a four, right?
yeah.
And then they're looking at it like, I want what you're doing, right? And I'm like, but you're not here for that. You're here to build something. You're here for structure, right? And that
Yes.
validation then comes like, oh, it's okay that I love the structure and the safety and the security and everything around me, you know? So
Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's humbling and you really get to step out like outside yourself and see another person for what they are. That's amazing. And I have a few more things I really want to touch upon. I'm still sort of trying to be aware of the time. With you, I'm always like losing the sense of time. So sorry for all my listeners and viewers, but that's how it is with Marisa. You lose a sense of time and you're just like flowing into an incredible conversation. But I'm always trying to keep these conversations approximately 50 minutes to 1 hour long. I think there's no way I'm going to do this time, but we'll still before we move on, if you are enjoying this podcast episode so far and you want to keep learning more grounded, in-depth numerology and also support this type of work, then make sure to follow, subscribe, click the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from, and just make sure to become part of my numerology community and also support this work. Also, if you want, you can follow me on Substack, where I write material about that sort of combines Dharma and numerology. The links are all in the episode description. And one more thing, make sure to comment. Not every platforms allow for commenting, but definitely YouTube, Spotify. I love hearing from you guys. What are your numbers? How do you relate to what we're speaking about today? The five, the seven, the two, their relationships. I will answer your comments. I always do. So go ahead and do so. And back to our conversation. I want to ask you about a particular element or behavior of the combo 5-7. Okay. So, as you know, and as I know, there's something about the 5-7 that is very out of the box, very unpredictable. Like sometimes, um, in a way that is astonishing and amazing, like brilliant, like, boom, where did this idea come from? Like, whoa. At the same time, this unpredictability can also play out as chaos. You mentioned the word chaos in the beginning pertaining to your family and, 7 kids, blah, blah, blah. How do you see these energies playing out in your life? Shadow,
Mm.
light, take it anywhere you like.
Yeah. Okay. If I so if I take it on the surface level, right? Because there's two spaces we're talking about here. So on the surface level of that chaos, right, is that like so many things happening all at once that this swirl of chaos can kind of happen in this external realm, right? So looking at it from like I don't know, I'm going to do this but that blah, blah, just chaos in your mind, chaos in like in the external space, right? So our energy, right, actually creates our experience, right? So we
Mm,
our own energy then becomes that reflection and we call in experience based off of our own energy, right? So the experience is not just happening to us, we call it in, right? So I like to witness and to be in that chaos like happens not only internally like in the mind and in some of these external events like that's been there and the transition right to this like massive state of like opening up to having like all those downloads, all those brilliant insights is to be conscious, right? Is to find that moment of balance, right? And I think that is where the unpredictability can come from is still that fun. Like I might just say like, oh, I want to get on that train right now. I don't know where it's going to go, but like I'm going to get on, right? And so but I think when it becomes a conscious decision of like, I am choosing to get on this train and this is like this unpredictable space, but I am clear. I am clear on this balance within me because I create space in my life to hold this. And to me, I believe in God, spirit, whatever you want to talk, energy source, whatever is there for you, right? Like this energy is for here and with us. And in that co-creative process, right? That's where true clarity comes from. Not like I want to be clear
mm,
about this thing in my life. Like I want to know this, right? So like when we're seeking clarity on this external level of of how we're operating, we're going to continue to have more experiences to try to find that clarity, right? But when we can anchor it in, then we can get on any train and have these unpredictable experiences and know from the depths of our own clarity that we are here for this experience, you know? And I think
Mm.
that's that transitional shift of like, for me in my own experience of those two energies of like, living a life of chaos, seeking clarity to finding clarity, being clarity, opening my space into that co-creative channel, you know?
It's very beautifully expressed. I can imagine that like someone with less awareness or self-awareness can experience this as mostly chaos or a sense of like urges coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like what the hell they want, where the hell do they come from, where is this leading me?
Mhm.
Whereas with more self-awareness, with a sense of as you said, sort of like the sense of clarity, I acknowledge the fact that existence is spontaneous.
Mhm.
It's not a fixed reality. It is an unknown unfolding moment to moment. So in many ways, when we speak about 5/7, let's say, and we take it really like we zoom out really, 5/7 is a cosmic representation. We're looking at simply the element of the unknown, the like something emerging out of the unknown. What will it be? Might be a sunny day, might be a sudden storm, might be a bird, might be a like a crocodile. I don't know. We don't know what's gonna be. So this mystery, this unknowability on some level, and I can imagine again zooming back in on a human scale, this can be scary for some, like embodying this because like you don't necessarily know like sort of what the hell is going on. Whereas if you are maybe more confident with yourself, more clear, it can be a source of inspiration. Like, okay, what's like I'm sort of like almost looking with curiosity, not knowing what's going to come up next. As you said, like, okay, you know what? I suddenly feel an urge. I have no clue where it came from. A moment ago, I wasn't thinking about it, but I want to hop on this train. I don't
Yes.
know why, but I have this trust that this experience is part of the movement of life and therefore inherently has intelligence, love, and wisdom in it, and something is going to unfold.
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah, versus the other not having that really that trust, that openness, that surrender that I'm here for this in this energy, in this moment, at this time for this experience, right? The opposite can be true. Getting on that train and being like, why did I just do that? Like I'm supposed to be over here at this time and I just got on this train and like and now I totally screwed it all up. You know, I mean,
mm,
and both can be true, you know?
yes. Is in your experience, have you had moments where you experienced this scary side or like the more like the regret side or
Oh my gosh, if you're going to lose some time on me, but I will tell you one moment. This is like, I'll make a very fast story. When I was in my 20s and I was traveling. I was with three other women and we were young and we were going to Portugal and we had a destination to go to Lagos, right? And we stop at this little train station somewhere along the way. And we are going to wherever we're going. This little man, he's so cute. He's like 5'2", big energy, comes rolling up with like a Portuguese flag. He's from Portugal. He's here from Germany. And he says, where are you going? We're like, well, we're going to Lagos. And he goes, no, 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 no. You're coming to Tiviera. Why are you going to Lagos? We're going here. I have a home. I have a place. You're coming to stay with me. And these girls are no, like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, yes, of course we're doing that. This guy is here. We're going to get on the train with him and we're going because he's local and
wow.
he's here. And so I'm convincing, I talked them into getting on the train with me. We go with this guy to this village. And it was an experience. Let me tell you, it was an experience and it was a disaster. We ended up having to get the police escort, pulling him back to get on the train to get to wherever we were going. The whole story is really quite amazing
Wow.
and a big story, but the idea and one of them can barely talk about it today, but they, you know, that and one of them can laugh, she and I can die laughing about it, but like there it was an experience and it was me sort of like we're jumping on this train there with no thought, no awareness to like the possibilities,
Yes.
trust in myself. But in the end, I always have had trust in myself. Like there was so maybe the seven energy of that trust, a deep sense of trust that all
Mm.
will be okay. But I also pulled people into my chaos, you know?
Yes, and I would also say that in a sense there is the trust of the seven, but there can also be um the flattening of what's in front of you that is a tendency of a five, like to sort of look at things sometimes in a like sort of um glazing over things or sort of like making it seem much simpler than it actually is. Come on, guys, come on, let's just do it. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Come on. Like this, come on, it's gonna be okay. Five, but it's not necessarily gonna be okay.
Mhm.
It can be
Yes.
misleading because there's something very magnetic about the five. Like there's a charm, there's a pull, there's a magnetic pull, a charisma in the five energy. It's like, okay, come on, try this LSD. Come on, it's cool. Nothing's gonna happen to you. It's fine. Come on, I'm telling you, it's like colorful and it's amazing. And then, but maybe the other person is not ready. Like maybe their nervous system is too sensitive or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's fascinating. Yeah.
Right. And I think that it, again lies with that balance, right? Because how do you utilize that charm in ways that are going to be for really seeing somebody for their highest good, right?
Right.
And that younger version of self was like, ah, come on, come on, come on. Whereas like now I would say like this is not this blueprint of this person, this energy is not, this isn't going to be well received, right? This is not
Mm,
going to resonate with them in some ways, and it's not going to be for their highest good, right? So seeing and really truly utilizing that for liberation versus like
hmm.
let's explore and have fun, becomes the shift.
Yes. And I see that also to be a maturation of the relationship between the five and the seven,
Yeah.
where
Yes.
self-control, depth, and deeper meaning fuses with spontaneity,
Yeah.
lightness, the willingness to dare and try new things. And when both of these meet and merge, we see what you just described, the maturation of that tendency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And to me, I'll say
yeah,
one thing about five
yeah,
and the
please.
seven liberation that happens because when you can get the depths of the wisdom of the seven, the recognition that we are dealing with many illusions, right? Then the five becomes that pairing where it's like, how can I help liberate from these illusions? Like, how can we utilize on this depth and this level to really help others see, feel through their own unique lens? Like, how do we move through this? Like, how can I step through this fear and move through and create the change in my life, right? To be in trust, to be in surrender of that next step.
Yeah, beautifully said. And it sounds like a sort of like a, a two-directional, a bi-directional arrow in a sort of like the five through the seven or the seven through the five, wisdom and depth expressed in ways that are super approachable, which I know you do 100%. Like you write about things, but you make them so about deep things, but you make them so accessible. The language is easy to understand and digest. It's friendly, it's inviting. That's sort of a seven through the five, but it's also five through the seven. Five, again, in the higher sense of I want to make you free. I want to connect you to freedom, and I'm going to find wise and reliable tools to help you do that. So to me, it's like it sounds like you know what I mean, like an arrow that can go in both directions.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I also think that idea of them coming together, right? Not one or the other is so powerful, right? Our connective energies and really understanding them, which is what I love that you're doing and bringing for others, is because it's not one or the other. It's both. It's all. It's
it's a
that connect.
fusion, it's a synergy. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. I want to before we sort of slowly come to a closure, I still want to ask you about a particular period in your life. Okay, so I'm sort of like I'm taking a little detour, or I want to take a little look at another aspect of your chart, the period cycles,
Mm,
because I mean we already learn or see that you are like this very bubbly, energetic, motivated, freedom-loving being. Um, but at the same time, there was quite a long time in your life where you've been under the influence of cycle 4,
yeah.
pinnacle 9. And in my teaching, let's say, or the way I teach numerology, I teach this as a disharmonious combination. And I think it's pretty easy to understand because 4 is much more of a structure, like
Mm,
and the need for groundedness and healthy boundaries, whereas 9 is about breaking the boundaries, needing more spaciousness and limitlessness, etc. And
yes.
when these energies, right, they come together again in synergy and
Yes.
as a period cycle, very often the person will have to deal with things in their life of that nature. Something something abrupt usually happens. And I just wonder if there's
Yes.
anything you can sort of point to that
Yeah.
happened in your life.
I would say, I mean, many things. Like I can say that even that the combo of my own energies, that chaos, the desire for freedom, like not wanting to be controlled. And my greatest teacher has been my marriage. I mean, and to be in a marriage, I mean, I've been married for 26 years now. It's a very long time. I
Wow.
have been like a very interesting combo, even with the energies that I hold, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And to go through those spaces of like I think about the younger years, like here I'm like fighting against like a relationship like the whole time. Here I'm fighting, fighting, fighting. And then that reception of his energy to mine, like we were just like, I mean, just years and years of this many different things. I mean, betrayals to like family situations to like to our ways of communicating to I mean, just so many different things in my life I can think about that happened during that time, right? And it was like kind of one thing after another, like, it might be this thing. And yet, like, I even remember at one particular time feeling like this opposite thing because I am like I would have described myself as like fight or flight, right? Like I'm like in that fight or flight energy is kind of that 4-9, right? The 4-9 energy
Mm.
is fight or
Mm-hmm.
flight,
Mm-hmm.
right? Kind of
Mm-hmm.
that creating
Yeah.
that feeling, right? And so to really feel like going through certain like just different betrayals in my life where I'm like I almost felt like a hand where I was ready to run, go, travel. I'm out. I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to do this anymore. To like, no, you're
Mm.
staying. No, you're staying. You're here to learn something, right? So that was yeah, it was like two different, I mean 9-4, right? Like two
Yes.
different period cycles was a lot.
To be here, not to be here. You know,
Yes,
4, like the energy of staying, whereas
yes,
9, like I want to be free. I
I'm
want to
out.
be like I want everything to be open. Like
Yes.
I don't want to be limited. I don't want to be boxed in.
Yes. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
also in essence, in feeling myself during that time of seeing these really big things happen, being a part of them, and also holding this like this higher lens of like understanding of compassion, things dying in my life. Lots of people died. I experienced a lot of just death of behaviors, death of like somebody here and then gone, just a lot of a lot of those endings and then seeing from a bigger perspective too. So yeah, that was a big couple periods combined with the 5-7 energy. I blew a lot of things up.
Yeah, that's honest of you to say, and I think it's great. I
Yeah.
think it's great for the listeners and for the viewers and for all of us, right? We're just human
Yes.
beings. Like we all
Yes.
screw up. We
Yes.
all do
But
like a million mistakes.
it's not even a screw up. It's energy. Like I'm always like, we are
Yes.
here playing with
Yes.
energy. We're here to play with all of it, the whole spectrum, and find the balance, you know?
Agreed. Agreed. Exactly. Like saying a mistake
Yeah.
is already in a way a mistake. Like what do we mean by mistake, right? Like
I don't even know. We're just here for the experience.
we're learning. We're all
Learning.
just learning. We're all just
Mhm.
learning.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. And I think it's actually a really good note to sort of start to wrap this one up. Anything you want to say, share,
My gosh, thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the work that you're doing and and truly, I have looked around at many different numerology teachings, and this particular method, the human body method that you're bringing into the world and sharing, has so much depth. There's a uniqueness, and I just appreciate you teaching and continuing to spread it because right now at this point you are the only teacher I know teaching this method worldwide. So thank you.
Outside of Israel, of course.
Outside of
Yeah,
Israel, but I
yeah.
mean in the world that
Yeah,
is
yeah, that's
a
true.
broader audience.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
how lucky I am to have students like yourself who are like just just continuing this current of goodness and light and keep spreading it in your own unique way. And that's what I love about it. Everyone does it in their own unique way.
yes.
Um, so of course, guys, like make sure to go check out Marisa. I'm gonna leave the link to her website in the episode description, marisagrim.com. Just see, explore what she does. She has also like a very active Substack account, and she writes a lot about many interesting spiritual topics. Um, and I can guarantee that like getting coached or getting a reading or working with Marisa is an amazing experience. Even me being like the numerology teacher, there's always this feeling that you're getting a lot of abundance poured in your direction, a lot of confirmation. So definitely worth, yeah, definitely worth it. Um, so I just want to thank you for coming up and being open about yourself and your life experience and being another guinea pig on my podcast, willing to share your life so that all the listeners and the viewers can explore and feel numerology on a deeper level. Um, what a joy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's a gift for me, and it's so fun always just being here with you. So thank you, and thank you for
yeah,
what you do and what you bring and who you are. Thank you.
yeah. Somehow I have a feeling we're gonna do it again. Just like a tickle in my heart and belly. We'll see
Sounds
where it
fun.
takes us. Yeah, who
Sounds
knows?
fun. Yes. Thank you.
Great. So yeah. So I guess we'll wrap this up. So first of all, if you enjoy this podcast and you want to keep listening to more in-depth materials like such, make sure to subscribe, follow, click on the notifications bell from whatever platform you're listening from. Join this community. Also, make sure to follow me on Substack, again, where I write about Dharma and numerology combined. Remember to comment just to let me know what you feel about this episode. What are your numbers? How do they behave? Do you have any more ideas about what we said or ideas about what I should talk about? Remember that you can experience numerology on a deeper level by checking out numerology readings where you can ask any question and explore yourself through the numbers, just as we did today, and even more specifically in depth. And then, if you want to learn numerology, study it deeper, check out my self-study numerology courses and my in-depth numerology certification studies. Again, if you want to acquire a deeper mastery of numerology. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was illuminating for you on some level. Marisa, thank you again.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
good
you.
care and goodbye to all of you guys. See you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.